Hello everyone, dear fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests today. I'm going to talk about my yoga adventure trip to India. Earlier this year, once again, I found myself excitement buzzing in the air with the annual reunion. I look forward to than any other my trip back to India. A land of vibrant colors, mouth-watering flavors, and of course, my family and friends. Having lived abroad for 8 years, this homecoming trip is time to reconnect, recharge, and immerse myself in the culture that shaped me. Also, my mom is getting older, so also the reality of seeing her only once a year makes me think how to make most of the time we spend together and create the memories that we cherish for long. So for the shared love of yoga, a practice that we have been enjoying since my childhood, I thought, why not try a yoga retreat to Rishikesh, which is world capital of yoga. At first, I was skeptical because the schedule looked intense and I was worried for my mom. Would it be too much for her? But life is an adventure, right? With her consent, we decided to take the plunge and deal with the surprises that come along the way. Next day, we unrolled our mat at 6 a.m. and the memories flooded back in this serene school of yoga in Rishikesh. It reminded me of that chilled, crisp air filled with sounds of chirping birds as my mom, my family, and I float together in sun salutations and yoga poses. It also reminded me the excitement at the time I was a kid ready to go to the school, but before that I used to start my day with this super special ritual of doing yoga with family. And years later, here we were, side by side, doing yoga, breathing in unison, and enjoying our movement together in the rhythm like a harmonious dance of mother and daughter. And barely our first yoga session had ended and our little group began to expand. I struck conversation between two women and quickly discovered we had experiences in parity. They were based in Amsterdam, a city I called home for a wonderful 3 years. We connected to another woman from UK and together we formed an interesting crew of international yogis, shared interesting stories, lots of laughter, and maybe way too much of chai. Our most memorable adventure undoubtedly in this trip was a sunrise hike to mountaintop temple. This one. Picture this, we all woke up at 4 a.m. to the most unwanted sounds of alarms, quickly freshened up, and we all jumped into the jeep and began our ascent to the winding roads of the mountain. For the next 45 minutes, we were scared for life as the jeep was taking turns around sharp turns around narrow, bumpy mountain roads. Even though the scenery was breathtaking, but it was the motion sickness was for real. Our journey had barely ended. We relieved to jump out of Jeep and saw, all got down and looked up. Somebody exclaimed in our group, "Hundreds of stairs!" Oh God. All right. Halfway up, we started climbing, and halfway up, my calves were burning, my lungs were screaming. I started questioning my sanity. And there, 60 years old mom, right there besides me, with her steady pace and sheer determination, putting my winning to shame. Slow and steady wins the race, she reminded me with a smile. After what felt an eternity, we finally reached at the summit and hurriedly grabbed the prime viewing spot for taking pictures. It was 30 minutes for the sun to rise. In the meantime, we chatted excitedly, took some selfies, and anticipation was buzzing in the air. As the designated time came and went, our smiles began to fade. As the clouds stubbornly refused to part, blocking our view for the grand entrance of the sun, our disappointment sunk heavy in the air. In that moment of disappointment, I realized old me would have been fuming by now. But thanks to the powerful tool of yoga and breath, I found myself surprisingly in peace. That I found or discovered, that even if I found four experiences basically. The power of shared experiences, the joy of unexpected connections, and the profound love for my incredible mom. 4, the deep understanding of yoga practice, which is woven into fabric of my life. So what I would like to share with you, that even though when you find yourself climbing the metaphorical mountain or literal mountain and the sunrise is not cooperating with you, still the journey itself is the most rewarding part of your life. And who knows, you might make lifelong friends along the way. Thank you.